Are you tired of always having exactly the card that you need in your Commander games? Are you tired of no longer having the variety of cards that you draw because you've just been tutoring the entire game with your demonic tutors, vampiric tutors, imperial seals, and all the rest of it? Are you looking for more from your Commander games? Well, today we're going to have 10 black cards that should be seeing more play in Commander. Starting off with number 10, which is Body Count, a 3-mana black instant that says draw a card for each creature that died under your control this turn. Now this in itself is not a new ability. We have lots of creatures that have the same ability, but what's different about Body Count is that it has Spectacle. Spectacle is an ability. It says pay a black instead of its cost of 3 mana. It says you may cast a spell for its spectacle cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. Well, wouldn't you know, what is black really, really good at? It's good at Blood Artist effects. It's good at Aristocrats. I have this in my Sephiroth deck because now all of a sudden I have a black Ancestral Recall because for all of the creatures that I have sacrifice that turn, now I can pay 1 and draw as many cards as I want. This card is only seeing play in 0.3% of decks on EDHREC. There are only 16,000 decks that are playing this. There should be more decks playing this, especially all the Sephiroth players. Please, please put Body Count into your deck. You will not be disappointed. Number 9 is Noxious Ghoul. It's a 5-mana black zombie, 3/3. It says whenever Noxious Ghoul or another zombie enters the battlefield, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. I'm guessing the only reason why this card is not seeing more play is because it's just too good in all the zombie decks, because zombies are the 3rd most popular tribe. This is a one-sided board wipe for all of your zombie decks. You play Noxious Ghoul, all of your opponent's creatures, or most of your opponent's creatures, are going to get -1/-1. But if you're playing any reasonable zombie deck, you're not just going to play one zombie, you're going to play many. And now all of a sudden, your zombies have free reign to attack whoever they want because Noxious Ghoul has just eliminated everyone else's board. This card has a 0.72% inclusion rate on EDHREC. Only 33,000 decks are playing this. Zombie players, come on, wake up. This card is $1.16. You definitely need to throw this into your zombie tribal decks. Next up is number 8, Wake the Dead. It's a X and 2 black mana instant. It says cast Wake the Dead only during combat on an opponent's turn. Return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice those creatures at the beginning of the next end step. Wake the Dead is a weird card, but at the same time, if you're playing a black deck with creatures, with ETBs, Wake the Dead allows you to reanimate a whole number of them on your opponent's turn, but that's fine. And you also get the death triggers when they die. So if I have a Kakosho, the Evening Star, in my deck, well, now all of a sudden I can play it on my opponent's turn, I can block with it, and then when it dies, I drain the entire table. Or I can bring it back Gary, or I can have a Duskmangler, or a Flashbag Marauder, all sorts of different cool options that you have in your mono black decks, and it doesn't exile them. For only 2 mana plus X, it's an instant, which means you can get as many or as few as you want. It's really cool because it messes up with combat. This card has a 0.32% inclusion rate on EDHREC. Only almost 15,000 decks on EDHREC are playing this. I'm playing this one in my Slimefoot and Squee deck, and it's only 65 cents. Friends, you need to be trying this in your reanimation decks. Next up is number 7, Make an Example. It's a 4-mana black sorcery. Each opponent separates the creatures they control into 2 piles. For each opponent, you choose one of the piles, and each opponent sacrifices the creatures in their chosen pile. So you make your opponents have to have a difficult conversation with their board. They have to segregate their creatures into the pile that will live and the pile that will die. And they don't even know which one you're going to deal with. So what happens is you get to get their best creature, most likely their best creature, but also you are the one who gets to decide what happens. Make an Example is an excellent example of how to have a board wipe that accomplishes what you want by getting rid of the most important creatures that are most threatening to you, but at the same time, you don't need to deal with all the riffraff that's just hanging on there, and also it doesn't affect your creatures, it doesn't affect your board. So this is an excellent black board wipe. It has a 0.58% inclusion rate on EDHREC. It's in just over 27,000 decks on EDHREC, and it's just over $9. Try this out in your mono black decks. This will overwork for you for sure. Next up is number 6, Author of Shadows. It's a 5-mana Shade Warlock, 3/3. Whenever Author of Shadows enters the battlefield, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. Choose a non-land card exiled this way. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, as you may spend mana, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. We don't play enough Graveyard Hate. Author of Shadows is Graveyard Hate. On an ETB, a repeatable ETB, because if you have a mono black deck where Author of Shadows is dying and then it's coming back to life again, you just keep on deleting and exiling all of your opponent's graveyards. But not only that, it gives you spells that then you can play. So each time it enters the battlefield, you exile their graveyards, and then you choose the best card from their graveyard, and you get to play it as if it was your spell. It is an excellent example of Graveyard Hate that also has upside. It has a 0.1% inclusion rate on EDHREC. It is on just over 7,000 decks, and it's 54 cents. Try Author of Shadows in any of your ETB decks or in your reanimation decks. You will not be disappointed. Next up is number 5, Mausoleum Secrets. It's a 2-mana black instant with the ability Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Now, I know we talked about it at the very beginning of the episode about how black tutors kind of reduce the variety of your deck because you can go and get exactly what you want. Mausoleum Secrets is different because you can't just get whatever you want. It has to be based off of whatever you have in your graveyard, which means it is a fair black tutor. It requires setup, but the cherry on top is that it is at instant speed, which means at instant speed, you can have potentially a demonic tutor that requires some setup. Yes, it's true, but it's at instant speed, which means you can go and get exactly whatever you want the turn before you untap. You can go get whatever you need for the next turn, and it's seeing just 0.4% inclusion on EDHREC, just over 18,000 decks. It is 85 cents. Demonic Tutor is a ridiculously expensive card. Mausoleum Secrets is a fraction of the price. This card is an amazing budget option. You should definitely try this in any of your black decks. Next up is number 4, Ghoul's Night Out. It's a 5-mana black sorcery. For each player, choose a creature card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. They're black zombies in addition to their other colors and types, and they gain Decayed. Ghoul's Night Out is 5 mana to reanimate 4 creatures, up to 4 creatures, because it includes yourself. So your 3 opponents and yourself. You get the best creature card in their graveyard. You get that. You get their ETBs, you get their static abilities, and yes, they get this annoying little ability called Decayed, but Decayed only activates if they attack. So what if you never need to attack? What if you have an excellent example of a static ability? What if you have, a Scrap Trawler, where it just says whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard? Well, that's great for you. You don't need Scrap Trawler to die. If I'm playing my Ematech the Stormlord, I don't want Scrap Trawler to die. I want everything else to die. Or what if I get a Phyrexian Triniform, where I want it to die because then I get all sorts of additional benefits? Ghoul's Night Out is 5 mana. It gets a huge amount of value for you. And it costs, 47 cents? It has a 0.27% inclusion rate on EDHREC. Only just under 13,000 decks on EDHREC are playing this card. It is an amazing black value piece. It will overperform every time you play it. You will not be disappointed that you have it. Now for a card you've probably never seen, and yet once you see it, you'll never unsee it. It is number 3. It's Mogus's Marauder. It's a 3-mana black human berserker 2/2. It says when Mogus's Marauder enters the battlefield, up to X target creatures each gain Intimidate and Haste until end of turn, where X is your devotion to black. That's right. We have a black creature that gives other creatures haste. Haste is the crucial part here. We all have been in that place where we're reanimating creatures, but we can't attack with them this turn because maybe we don't have our Swiftfoot boots, maybe we don't have our Lightning Greaves. Mogus's Marauder says, what if I could not only give you Intimidate, which means it's harder for them to block, but what if I give them Haste? Now all of a sudden, my reanimation is not just creating a big board that's about to get board wiped or farewelled next turn. Now I give them Haste, and now they get to attack. Mogus's Marauder is one of my finishers in my mono black dot deck, where basically I have a bunch of different mono black commanders that I keep switching in and out. Mogus's Marauders is excellent there because when I reanimate him, he ETBs, he gives my board all haste, which means now they can all attack, which means now I can end the game right now when everybody else thought that they had another turn to breathe. This card is only seeing a 0.1% inclusion rate on EDHREC Just under 5,000 decks are playing this. If you have a black deck that likes to reanimate creatures, throw in Mogus's Marauder and watch and see how much better it becomes once they all get haste. Number 2 is Promise of Power. It's a 5 mana black sorcery. It says choose one. You draw 5 cards and you lose 5 life. Or you put an XX black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield, where X is the number of cards in your hand as the token enters the battlefield, and it has an entwine cost of 4, so you can choose both of the abilities if you play the entwine cost. Most likely you're just going to be playing this card for the draw ability. 5 mana to draw 5 cards and lose 5 life is an excellent rate, especially in black where you have a lot of mana and you're okay with paying a lot of life to draw cards. Promise of Power gives you what you want. You get to draw cards, and yeah, you get to lose life. And so what? You're drawing the cards. Life is a resource. Use it as a resource. And it also has the upside of if you have extra mana or if you have nothing better to do and you want to create a flying beater that gets, an XX where however many cards you have in your hand, it's just upside. It's gravy. Really, you're just paying an excellent rate to draw spells, and you can't go wrong with that in a mono black deck. And last but not least, our number 1 card that should be definitely seeing more play in black decks, it's Prowling Geistcatcher. It's a 4 mana human rogue 2/4. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, exile it. If that creature was a token, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Geistcatcher. When Prowling Geistcatcher leaves the battlefield, return each creature exiled with it to the battlefield under your control. Ignore the part about the token. The token part is not relevant. That is a distraction. This is board protection. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, you exile it. You exile it on the Prowling Geistcatcher, and then whenever the Prowling Geistcatcher leaves, all those creatures come back. So let's say, for example, you have a Prowling Geistcatcher and you have a sacrifice outlet. If I play an ETB creature, and then I get the value from it. Let's say I play Gary. I play it, and for some reason the entire board doesn't die. I can then sacrifice Gary to any of the numerous aristocrat sacrifice options that I have in my deck. Let's say Ashnod's Altar. Now all of a sudden, that Gary goes underneath my Prowling Geistcatcher, which means now I could even sacrifice the Prowling Geistcatcher, and now all of a sudden my Gary comes back. And so Prowling Geistcatcher gives you the options of protecting yourself from board wipes, reusing your ETBs, and all of it on a creature. Black decks love creatures because we can reanimate them super easily. Prowling Geistcatcher is a card you've probably never played, never seen, and yet if you're in any type of sacrifice deck, aristocrats deck, reanimation deck, any deck that plays black creatures that occasionally have ETBs, Prowling Geistcatcher is an amazing option for. You should definitely be seeing more than 0.21% inclusion rate on EDHREC, and it's almost at 10,000 decks. This card is 43 cents, and it should definitely be in more of our decks. So that's the end of the episode today. Which of these black cards will you play and put into your own decks? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.